There is no meme. This is just a threat.
I want to know that I do really appreciate the chat that just said, just shit yourself. Like, Snyder, that's some energy you got there. I'm just worried about everyone we left back in Miseli. We'll depart on the morrow, so make sure you're all prepared. You got it, Z. See you later. Just make sure you don't soil yourself in front of the Lana. Cesar, Sujata and I have business elsewhere. Oh? Where exactly would that be? I figured you two would be bored to death in a place like this. The Sanctum harbors highly skilled healers, if the stories are to be believed. Where might I... Is he gonna cure his cancer? No! Our healers are specialized over a wide array of disciplines. Teach me what afflicts you, and I will guide you to the right expert. It's not me. I want you to... Bro, you have cancer! Fucking... Get a healer! As you wish, Abbott. Please, this way. Goddamn! I see. So she is not your daughter, but a girl you saved from a slaver. She had already lost your memories before you found her? That's right. Over 3 years ago, I found the bastards in a small town. They had about 12 children with them at the time. Infuriated, I demanded they free their slaves. Naturally, this led to bloodshed. And you dispatched them? Good, for the devils deserve no less. But what of the children? I located some of their parents and entrusted the rest to caring villagers in the town. But Sujata remained silent the whole time. This abnormality filled the townspeople with trepidation, and in the end, no one sought to take her in, leaving me with no other choice. And so you cared for her over these last few years. I see you're a far kinder man than you let on. Yet, her soul continues to suffer, no doubt due to the horror she experienced during her times as a slave. Sujata's desperation to escape this fear most likely led to her sealing off her heart. I spent the last 3 years wandering the land in search of her parents. All for naught. I haven't come up with a single clue, and I fear I never will unless she's able to regain her memories somehow. Please, Abbott. Okay, helping Sujata's mind? Good. That is very good of you. Good job. You could also ask them to cure your cancer. You can ask for both. Unfortunately, we have no way of treating amnesia. I've seen some patients suddenly remember everything for no apparent reason, and I've also seen patients who never recollect anything over the course of their entire lives. We have no choice but entrust our fate to the gods. I deeply apologize that I cannot be of more help to you. But there is one thing I can tell you about Sujata, simply from looking at her. Her parents loved her. I'd even go so far as to say they raised her with tender love and care up until the day she was kidnapped. Honestly, that's more than I expected this visit to yield. At the very least, now I know my efforts to reunite them will not have been in vain. Thank you for your help, Abbott. We'll get out of your hair now. I thought you looked pale. Something ails you as well, yes? And it looks to be taking quite the toll on you. Why do you not seek treatment? You should act fast, or you may end up losing your life. Because this is an illness that can't be cured by any mortal. I've been exposed to Bethel. Bethel? Ah, the toxin secreted by the toadstools found on the eastern side of the mainland. I've heard the savages of that land often coat their weapons with the poison. Then you heard right. I was struck by a poison arrow on my way to Vestaria, and once it's inside you, your fate is forever sealed. Nothing can save me now. My body will continue to slowly rot from the inside, until I die a painful, excruciating death. This is my punishment, Abbott, and I accept it. I have taken a great many lives, some of whom had done nothing wrong. I've always known death was right around the corner. I just wish I could return Sujata to her parents before it takes me. Shram, let's go already. I'm bored. Halt, young man. There is a way to neutralize the Bethel toxins. I wish to bequeath it to you, out of respect for your stout heart. But there's still a way for me to survive? Even after all this time? Yes. Do you know of the bloodworm? There are a legendary species of dragon who have roosted on these islands since the days of yore, but few remain in our age. Their blood is a potent their blood takes away toxic, and it is said that bathing in the worm's blood can neutralize any manner of poison. At this time of year, yes, I believe you might find them in the wastes on the eastern side of Miseli, or perhaps within the caves. Their blood is highly prized, so they will be no easy mark to hunt, but perhaps Earl Rollick could help you search for one. It's clear that Sujata loves you as kin. Thus, you must also love yourself, so as not to add any to the sorrow she already bears. Thank you, Abbot. I shall not forget your words. Woo! We're gonna kill a dragon to cure cancer! Ah, this is way cooler than chemotherapy. Why the long face, Hilda? Got something or someone... that's not what slaying sounds like. Why the long face, Hilda? Got something or someone on your mind? Not really. Don't you lie to me. You're scouring the place for that scoundrel of a minister, aren't you? Just wait here, I'll find him. Oh, we're gonna get Siegfried back? No, wait, I told you, I'm fine. You're a minister of this temple, yes? My friend has a question for you. I'm a very busy man, so you'll have to make it quick. Sorry to intrude on your duties. I'm looking for a man named Siegfried. Siegfried? Last I remember, the Lana sent that goblin off on a mission to the west. Knowing his ways, who knows when and if we'll ever see him again. Are you well acquainted with Siegfried? Unfortunately, I dare say everyone here is well acquainted with his lack of diligence and clinical obsession with the female form. I'll never accept him as a proper man of the cloth, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, that's definitely the Siegfried I know. He's a skilled war priest, to be true, but his lineage is worrisome to say the least. I simply can't understand why the Lana would ever trust him. Who knows when the devil will finally decide to stab us in the back? His lineage? What exactly do you mean? Fine, I'll tell you, but as long as you promise to keep this under wraps. Siegfried was born in the East, as the spawn of a demon. What? Siegfried's father was a Margolian duke, while his mother was one of the duke's slaves. His father sired many sons, and wasted no time in using the go tight to turn them into demons so they could better serve him. After learning what the fate of her child would be, Siegfried's mother took him and fled from Margolite territory. Miraculously, she was found by Sylvian forces, and Lady Venice took it upon herself to escort the woman to the Temenos. Damn, this shit's crazy. Sadly, the woman's extensive suffering had taken too much on a toll on her, so she passed shortly after giving birth to her final child. Inexplicably, Lana Near promptly decided to adopt the child and raise it as her own. Personally, I just can't abide it. The demons are our sworn nemesises. Raising one of their children in our home as one of our own, it defies all logic. Heed my words, girl. You'd be wise not to meddle with that wretch any further. There's no telling what he's truly capable of. I'm afraid you're sorely mistaken, Abbot. Oh, if it isn't Lady Neffia. What a surprise to see you down here, gracing our lowly servants with your presence. Now then, would you be so kind as to explain what I'm mistaken about? Siggy's just afraid. Afraid that his dark power grows too much, he'll turn into a monster, just like his father. Despite ever being tormented by that fear, he risks his life to fight for us day in and day out. There's no way he would ever succumb to evil. He would succumb to that pussy. Like, he'll succumb to that. But, demon? Nah, he's fine. With all due respect, Lady Neffia, you're still young. I can understand your wish to look up to your stepbrother, but allowing emotion to dictate your actions will only lead you down a path of ruin. In any case, I do believe I've said my piece. As stated in the beginning, I'm very busy, so please excuse me as I take my leave. Comes in, Siegfried's a demon, elaborates, leaves. Please forgive me for intruding on your conversation. What? Lady Lianka? But how? I am Neffia, Siggy's little sister, and you must be Hilda. Aslan's told me a great deal about your exploits. I'm sorry if I surprised you. Indeed, Lianka is my younger sister. We're twins, actually. Twins? The people of Norden have populated those lands for centuries, and thus, several unfortunate conventions have survived through the ages. One such belief states that twins can only be born through demonic intervention. And so, whenever twins are born to a Norden family, the parents must abandon one of their children, even if the father is the clan's Jarl. When my sister and I were born, my family's midwife tried to kill me in order to honor the convention, but my father would not have it. Instead, he had a handmaid secret deliver me from our clan to Lana Near. My mother was once a circlet maiden herself, and trusted that Lana would treat me with care. But Lana did far more than that. Not only did... This bitch just adopts every child she sees. She's like, oh, a twin girl forcibly unfairly prophesized to bring about disaster? I'll take that. Ah, Siegfried, son of a demon? I'll take that. Like this... She's just taking everyone. She will adopt your baby. Of course, breaking Norden Convention was of no small crime, so my parents had to keep the secret entirely to themselves. I doubt my sister even knows. It was not until very recently Nana Near blessed me with the truth. Apparently, Siggy begged her to tell me after the shock that befell him when he first encountered Lady Lianka. I wish to reunite with her too someday, of course, but first I must attend to my duties as a maiden, and I would be loath to endanger my parents. This is really off topic, but I heard you played Kirby in the Forgotten Lands. That is very off topic, but yes, I did. It's my favorite Kirby game. It's fucking magnificent. Hilda, thank you so much for keeping my sister safe. I am truly grateful to you from the bottom of my heart. Just promise me you will not tell my sister about me for the time being. Someday, I know we'll be together again. But until that day comes... sorry, I think my brain needs some time to catch up. I understand it all, of course. Lady Lianka has an elder sister who's a circlet maiden. That's, great! Excellent, even! I won't tell anyone. You're Lady Nefia, a circlet maiden. And Lianka's your older sister, which makes Siggy your older brother. Wait! About Siggy, I know that my brother is a terribly misunderstood person. He uses his banter to prevent others from getting too close to him. Everything that Minister told you is also true. Honestly, it's a private matter no one else has any business knowing. But even in Temenos, it appears we have those who could do to improve their manners. I'm not sure if Siggy would have wanted you to know about his lineage or not, Hilda. Only he can answer that question. There's one thing I know for sure. My brother loves you with all his heart. Aww. Geez, you two are still at it? Did you find out where your precious Siggy went or not? Blank stare. Whoa, Hilda! That woman just sucked out your soul or something? Get a grip! Oh, I know those eyes. They're the eyes of a woman in love. Can't a guy ever catch a break? Sorry, Slane. You're not getting that one. In the original Vestaria saga, they mostly just bickered all the time because Siegfried is himself. But actually, for some reason, I thought Hilda had a thing for who Lianka ended up with. I don't know why I thought that. She's always had the hots for Siegfried, I think. Eddard was just... Why do I think? Because, like, Hilda's ghost in the, dragon map that I was bitching about earlier. She says, I've always had the hots for someone. For some reason, I remember it being Eddard. Well, now it's Siegfried. I think. What the fuck's Eddard and Lianka up to, anyway? Nelki, you came to study at the Temenos, didn't you? Oh, it was Eddard! I'm not crazy! Whoop, whoop! Thank you, Spara. Nelki, you came to study at Temenos, didn't you? Yes. Then what are you doing standing around for? Go and get yourself registered. I think I want to postpone my studying abroad. Postpone it? Mean you change your mind? I thought your dream was to come here and study at the Sanctum. You went through great pains to get this far, didn't you? Why would you want to give it up all now? I just can't stop thinking about all the people who've cared for me thus far. The Earl and his daughters are still back at Port Lebec, and a fierce battle awaits Lord Zaid and his companions, correct? I know that the inhabitants of the Temenos face their share of danger too, and I wish to help them as well, but... Cesar, have I gotten myself terribly confused? Oh boy. Look, take some advice from me and try to think smart about this. Whether you're with us or you aren't, in the end, it won't change much. Actually, you'll probably only end up getting in the way. But I want to stay with you all. Alright, I warned you, but if you insist, fine. I'll go convince the Big Z for you. Not like I'm one to talk. It's plain I prefer the company of fools like you. God knows I've done a good job surrounding myself with them. Just do what you can. Keep yourself alive. I don't want your old man to start haunting me in my sleep or anything. What's next, Sheila and Zaid? Lilia? Yo! Oh, if it isn't Lilia. Well, now this is a surprise. Almost look like a proper Sestra. Almost. How rude. I've been a proper Sestra for quite some time. Not that I expected you to notice. Just as insensitive as ever, I see. Excuse me, Lilia, I'm still your superior, last time I checked? How dare you speak to your lieutenant that way? Pfft. Oh yes, of course. What was I thinking? I was just so overjoyed when I heard you'd all arrived, I completely lost my manners. Speaking of which, where's Zaid? I have a request to make of him. Zaid's got his hands full right now. No time to deal with small fries like you. Ah, shucks. I guess I have to pass on my message personally then, Caesar. Tell Lord Zadrian that Lilia is ready to accompany him with— Hey, we're gonna get Lilia back! Cool! Woo! She can find plants! Oh, I'm gonna get so many herbs! For those of you that don't know, in the first Vestaria saga, Lilia's main gimmick is that she had some % chance to, just find herbs for free every turn. It happened a lot. This woman will pick up grass off the ground and throw it in your convoy. Healing items. They're just healing items. Garland? Who said that old fart's in trouble? When Lady Orphelia journeyed here from Rodessa, she mentioned something about Master Garland and his men being in danger. And from that moment forward, I've been desperate to get in touch with Zaid and help. The story about their rebellion was true. Well, the more healers the better, that's what I always say. Also, were you gifted in the magical blasty department? I can't recall. Oh well, I'm sure Z will be happy to see you either way. We're scheduled to shove off tomorrow morning, so you better get ready. Thank you, Cesar. That's Lieutenant Cesar to you, kid. Alright, Sheila and Zaid next? Aslan and Ursel, okay. Father, I demand you give Urzil a proper scolding. He keeps insisting that he's going to accompany me on my next mission. And why can't he? The boy's already 14 years old, Aslan. If he's to be a war priest, he'd best get acclimated to the battlefield. Ursel is nothing more than a child, which makes him nothing but a hindrance to me. I can't complete my missions to the best of my ability if I'm also meant to babysit him. If you must send him out, please, I beg you, just send him somewhere else. All this excitement. I like Sheila and Zaid, alright? I think they're neat. The way you tell it, Aslan, it sounds like nothing more than a personal problem. One you must come to terms with on your own. Sip. Ezreal is a warrior of the Temenos, first and foremost. You must abandon your familial attachments. I know, but our world faces the most heinous of dangers, Aslan. As we speak, the Margolites threaten to plunge all we know into eternal darkness. Thus, we must send as many ministers and war priests out as we can muster, in order to keep the light glowing ever bright. As of late, we've even resorted to sending out young Sestras who still have yet to finish their training. Yes, Father, and I know that responsibility partly lies on my shoulders. Do not blame yourself, my child. Simply remember that Urzil is a skilled mage who has already completed all of his training. Though he is young, we simply cannot hide him in safety for our own personal comfort, especially if he is family. Yes, you're exactly right, Father. Please forgive me. I was in the wrong. I understand you worry for him, Aslan. I share your pain. But that boy is not as much of a child as he may seem to you. Green though he may be, he has the potential to become an incredible warrior. But only if we first believe in him. Yes, Father. Whew. Hey, Father. Look what I found. Quiet, Urzil. How many times do I have to tell you to lower your voice inside the temple? Expect me to be quiet in a time like this? My instructor just gave me an advanced magical tome. It's special, just for me. Look. Skin Turnides. Sign Turnite? It says, right here. I bet it's powerful to vaporize an entire army of Margolites right on the spot. Your instructor most likely heard that you would be departing soon and wished to be of help. And it's nothing to lose your wits over, Urzel. Usually, he's always so annoying. He never stops bugging me about stupid details, but I guess he finally figured out how powerful I really am. Oh, I know! I need to go show Dylan and Mark before I leave. They're gonna be so jealous. Ha Wait, Urzel! I have something to tell. My, I think this might be the most beautiful goddess sculpture I've ever seen. Cesar, what are you doing here? I saw a temple, so I decided to stop by. Didn't think I'd be lucky enough to run into you, Aslan. You looked like you were having a very serious discussion over there. That abbot a friend of yours? That's my father, the high priest of the Laurentia Temple. Ah, yes, the goddess Laurentia. She was the mage knight who shattered the Orb of Ruination in the Crusades, yes? She perished due to the wounds she suffered in battle, and later became one of the 17 gods of Selron. She worshipped here. Laurentia was also known as Lana, and has become known throughout Vestaria as the mother goddess of the earth. That all came after her death, however. The truth is, she was the mother of both Lana Near and Lady Vanis. I hope that answers your question as to why the Temenos chose to honor her so much. Interesting. But Aslan, something doesn't sit right to me about that old Orb of Ruination. According to the myths, the Netherdrakes lost their power as soon as it shattered. But recently, I heard that Aiden's Fair was alive and kicking down in Janeth until the kids from Solus came along and laid it to rest. That's the map I was talking about! Fuck that map! Caesar, why'd you remind me of it? Fuck that dragon! If a few snotty brats can slay such a fearsome beast, does that mean the supposed power of said drakes was simply an exaggeration? Not quite. The Netherdrakes of lore are horrible weapons of mass destruction forged in ancient times by the Udagal themselves. Their power was so great that no mortal weapon could scratch them, and a few puffs of their fiery breath could immolate an entire town. The Udagal once commanded thousands of these beasts, and they are said to be one of the major catalysts to the race's downfall. When the seal on the Earth Shield was broken, Aiden's Fair merely awakened, and nothing more. But the other two shards of the orb, the Star Shard and the Moon Shard, would have their seals broken as well. Then the three Netherdrakes would surely regain their former might, and bathe this entire island in a torrent of inescapable hellfire. Aha. So the thing Silton slayed was actually a baby dragon. Good to know. Wow, Silton committed child murder! Indeed. No human could ever hope to fell a fully powered Netherdrake. Even if one was to pierce it with the holy blade, the Netherdrake would easily revive itself over and over again. With only one of the maidens asleep, the Netherdrake was able to resume its form and little more. Could barely move. By all accounts, it simply stood there, offering paltry counterattacks whenever it could muster up the strength. Wait, time out. That doesn't make sense. I'm sure I saw a Netherdrake rampaging around the ruins of Janeth when I went down there. Someone there is there to save me, thankfully, but I'm positive I saw it moving around. By that time, the Earth Maiden should have been safely returned to Temenos. You already reversed her petrification, right? The Earth Maiden was safely rescued, but we had yet to undo the petrification curse, and now another maiden has fallen asleep. Thus, as of right now, only one shard of the Orb of Ruination remains successfully sealed. Excuse me. The reason why Aiden's Fair recovered so quickly after being once felled was the power of the orb had grown. And now, the Star Shard seal is no more, Lagris of Galactia is most likely awoken as well. For all we know, it could be running amok beneath the ruins this very minute, and thus time is of the essence. If we lose the third and final maiden, the Netherdrakes will finally be able to break through the seals placed on all the ruins. Then, they will rise to the surface and wreak havoc on the innocents as servants of the vile Margalites. Without the Udagals and their great power, we have no chance of stopping the beasts, and the world will be plunged to ruin. Wait. Nina's still petrified? And you people call yourself ministers? And what's this second maiden being asleep? Just what kind of operation are you knuckleheads running up here? Cesar? It was Queen Civil of Spire who cast the petrification curse on Lady Nina. The curse is a very kind of special spell that has been passed down solely through the royal family of Spire for generations. But 3 years ago, the royal family was massacred in their palace. No one survived, save for Queen Sybil herself. Therefore, we have no hope of curing Lady Nina with our current means. One possibility has been left to us. Oh, what is it? Stop beating around the bush! The Spherian princess went missing 13 years ago. She was born from a different mother than Sybil, and would be 13 or 14 if still alive now. We've been searching for her like mad. If we can find her, a blood descendant of the Spherian royal family, she may be able to help us undo the curse. As far as I know, it's the only hope we have of saving poor Lady Nina. So you're basically looking for a needle in a haystack. Do you have any more intel on that princess? Apparently, her mother was from the Lestian royal family, and was married to the King of Spire purely for political purposes. But the king already had a queen, so the Lestian woman became one of the king's consorts. While the Spherian queen failed to bear any children for years, the young consort soon became pregnant. But soon after, the queen finally gave birth to her first son, and so a war of succession broke out between the two families. The Lestian consort was a timid woman, and didn't fare well in such a tense environment. It's said that by the time the princess was finally born, her mother had already been pushed to the brink of mental collapse. And so, the woman fled the palace with her daughter, who was only about 6 months old. They were never seen again. That concludes the tale I heard from a minister who was born in Spire. No one knows what happened to them after that. Apparently, the princess's name was Amelia, and she was blessed with violet eyes. If she truly inherited Udagal blood, then Lady Nina should be able to identify her the moment they meet. We've been doing our best to find someone who fits her description, but we haven't had any kind of luck so far. Suppose you have any leads, do ya? Amelia, huh? Got it. I'll keep my eyes peeled. Oh, and, by the way, Aslan, who's the second maiden who got purified? What? It can't be. Fuck, is this... What? What does that mean? Abbot Melvin, where's the person you wanted me to meet with? This way, my lord. She's right over here. Hey, Ophelia! I remember you. Captain Aslan was kind enough to carry me out of Redessa on one of her eagles. Zadrian, You're crying. What happened? Please, there's no need to rush yourself. Just take your time and tell me what happened, from the beginning. Of course. A month after you left Regina, Earl Garland and I began speaking about rebuilding Redessa Castle. Then, Lord Theodel from the Thrall arrived with a frantic look on his face. After speaking with us, he left... What happened to Theo? Don't tell me something bad happened! Yes. Several hundred soldiers marched up from the capital and took control of Redessa, and kidnapped me as well. They were led by the Duke of Frist. When I saw how he smirked as he raised the whip into his right hand, I resigned myself to my fate. I believe the Earl kept me in the dark because he saw this coming. He knew I wouldn't be able to handle it. That scum! Before I lost consciousness, I saw someone enter the room. It was Paladin. Troy?! No, hold on. Wait, There's a story to that. Okay, good, okay, never mind, we're fine? I'll tell you about it one day, but for now, you must understand that Troy is the one who took me out of the castle. After returning to the Earl's side by the way of Thrall, they worked together to chase the Duke's army out of Redessa and reclaim it. Troy. I knew he'd never turn on us. Forgive me for my outburst. Does that mean Aethal was also in Redessa? Why did Garland's forces take her away? Honestly, it pains me to tell you this, Adrian, but you needn't hold back. I'm prepared to accept anything now, as long as it's the truth. As you wish. In that case, I will tell it to you exactly as it was told to me. Once we returned to Earl Garland's side, he told us the truth. The one we knew as Zacharias, our Chancellor... Yeah, I saw this one coming. I knew that wasn't the real Zek. At the end of the game, I was like, I don't think that's the real Zek. Yeah, okay. I figured this one. I'm fairly certain the real Zek is fucking dead. And that's sad. But Zaid, if your brother's dead, that means Aethol isn't engaged to him. So, yeah. I love how the game specifically went, we'd know if it was a fake just for them to not. Yeah! Yeah! Zaid belongs with Silton. Listen! Fucking... Zaid belongs with Silton. Do you... Is this Silton he's smooching right here, Lilla? Is this Silton you see? I don't think that's Silton right there. That's all I'm saying. Zaid belongs with his personal sword. Silton is... Basically, I say Silton is the second lord of Vestaria Saga 1. I think he's plot important enough, and his death causes a game over. I say Silton is the second lord of, Vestaria Saga. The comparison to Holmes is actually fairly apt. They have some similar character beats. Both of them are blonde archers. Both of them are kind of immature little shitheads. Silton matured a bit more than Holmes does. I mean, at the end of Tear Ring Saga, Holmes is definitely still himself. Zaid. You know, in regards to Tear Ring Saga, my only problem, big problem with Tear Ring Saga's story is I'm not a big fan of the canon romances. Of the lords, excuse me. Like, Runin and Entei, and then Katri and Holmes, they were alright, but I didn't really like them too much. I thought Holmes had way more chemistry with Shigen. Holmes' chemistry with Shigen, way stronger than anything else in that game. Unfortunately, Shigen decided fucking his stepsister was more important. Don't get me started on that. Don't. Why can he and Julia hook up? Sierra's canonical, alright? I am choosing to believe Shigen and Sierra are canonically the lovers. Yeah. I get the concept behind Holmes and, Katri. You know, Katri's the sweet one who can see past Holmes' rough exterior. It didn't pan out the greatest. Anyways, enough talking about Tear Ring Saga. We're now back, we're in Vestaria Saga. The second one, even. After Frisk conceded, only Sir Troy was allowed to return to the castle, after first convincing the Chancellor that he would remain loyal. It was all a ploy, however. Troy had known from the start that something was awry. Zacharias had always seemed different to him from the moment Regina had been freed. Changed, somehow. Without proof, he could say nothing, but he feared for the princess's safety as well as yours, Adrian, so he vowed to uncover the truth. Thus, he masqueraded as a loyal servant in order to monitor the Chancellor's actions, and managed to find undeniable proof. Undeniable proof? One evening, he spotted the Chancellor doing something very suspicious. He was walking down a stairway that led to an old underground vault all alone. Sir Troy followed him and saw the Chancellor enter the vault. Then, through a silver light that passed through the door, he saw it. A Margulite altar of worship. No. A bronze statue. Can't be. I see the ritual is complete. I always knew we were right to place our hopes in the great Queen Civil. And it took me longer than expected due to the girl's exceptional power. But the moment she saw that boy's head, her resistance instantly dissolved. He must have been quite dear to her if such a child as Ruse was able to shock her so. Oh, I almost feel sorry for her. More importantly, Grevendell, how long do you insist on wearing that hideous Zacharias mask? I'm sick of staring at that man's stupid face. If you must disguise yourself, I demand that you utilize your standard fare. You and your particularities. Very well. Truth be told, keeping this up day and night takes quite a toll on my old bones. And let us not forget our dear companion Valerius. You have served us well, boy, and as a result, our plans are going swimmingly. 2 seals down so far, and only 1 left to go, yes? The old sages of Vesta certainly knew how to make things a royal pain in the ass. Thanks to your diligence, the Nether Drake of Earth has awakened in Galatia, and now the power of the temple that once bound out Aden's fair is no more, giving it the freedom to march where it pleases. But it still can't escape the ruins, correct? In which case, it's as good as useless to us. All in good time. There's a proper order to everything, boy. Now we must set our sights on the wife who fled to Surma Abbey. It's only a matter of time before Princess Marion of Lestia falls into our hands, too. Then, the full orb of ruination will finally be ours. Isn't that right, Queen Civil? Troy stood there in the doorway, listening carefully to every word. You mean Aethol was the next maiden they petrified? Zadrian. What did Troy do after that? Feeling there was naught he could accomplish on his own, he rode to Theodel and Thrall. Theodel claimed he would be able to transport the princess away in secret if Troy could prepare a wagon and guards outside the castle. Afterwards, Theodel officially requested that Redessa send out reinforcements to Thrall. Unfortunately, Troy's group was spotted at the gate by guards, and a battle ensued. Luckily, Earl Garland's group managed to draw the enemy away and retreat to Thrall. Meanwhile, Troy and a few other knights braved the Black Holt and returned to Redessa, all in order to rescue me. And Aethol? Is Aethol safe now? Before Thrall fell to the enemy, the Earl snuck the princess aboard a fishing boat and had her sent home by way of Redessan River. Theodel kept fighting the entire time in order to keep the enemy occupied, but no one heard a word from him after that. He must have been captured, or... In any case, the Earl considered rescuing him, but guarding Redessa Castle proved to be a task that required every last one of their resources. At the very least, they hoped that I would be able to locate you and tell you all that transpired. So when Captain Aslan arrived in Redessa out of concern for the princess, I begged her to take me back with her. Understood. I must return to Regina at once. Grevendale and Valeris will both pay for what they've done. This time, there shall be no escape, and they will both answer to my blade. I'll kill them 100 times over if need be, and I will not stop until they've both been obliterated beyond any recognition, never to revive again. Please, Adrian, allow me to assist you. When the Earl bade me to flee Redessa in its darkest hour, it filled me with such pain. Please give me a chance to fight at your side. I wish to return home as well. Of course, Ophelia, you needn't worry. Everyone will be fine. We'll save every last one of them! Yo, it's like Bizarro Dimitri. You went Halden? Yo! My man! I heard everything. If Valeris resides in the capital now, then that's... Oh, that's right, because Valeris, mind-fucked your sister into being a demonic slave. Right. Am I remembering that right? It was Valeris. Like, Valeris possessed your sister. She showed up in one map, and then went, I'm possessed. And you're like, huh? And then she left. It was Valeris specifically that did that to her, right? Okay, I'm remembering that correctly. I won't make the same mistake again. The next time I see him, he's a dead man. I will free Revenea, no matter how long it takes. But what about the spell he's cast on her? Have you figured out how to break it? Yes, I know the true nature of the dark blade Revenea holds. Its name is Argulam, an Udagal weapon that enthralls all who wields it. It can control their minds? Exactly. And casting a certain spell on the blade would allow one to control its wielder like a puppet. Valeris must have cast the exact spell on the blade before he handed it to my sister. That's why she does whatever he tells her to. So if we rob her of her weapon, we can break the spell? But I've heard that sword is capable of deflecting any manner of attack. Almost any. Balana entrusted me with this sword. It's also an Udagal weapon, so it should be able to neutralize the blade's abilities. It's only as strong as a common scimitar, though. Alana warned me that I would need to thoroughly prepare myself if I'm to challenge the power of Argilam. Sounds perfect to me, though. My sole aim is to disarm my sister, not take her life. Yeah, I'm with you on that. But are you sure that merely disarming her is enough to break the spell? The thrall of Argilam should be able to recover within 2 to 3 days of losing the blade. The Lana suggested I entrust it to a minister. The process will be painful, but he should revert to her old self when all is said and done. Really? It's amazing news, Halden! The struggle yet lies ahead of us, but at least now we have a sliver of hope. The only unanswered question I had left after that was in regard to Sister Alicia, but I finally found a clue. Apparently she was working with the Vestarian Liberation Army at Surma Abbey, which is located on the western tip of the island. The Temenos promptly sent out a generous army of the Knights of Kile to rescue her, so we shouldn't have to worry any longer. Alisa's safe? It's truly a relief. And it felt like a heavy load had been lifted off my shoulders as well, after being so worried for so long. Now then, I should prepare to depart. Let me know when it's time to shove off. Of course, Halden. Tomorrow will be a new beginning for both of us. Words cannot express how delighted I am to see you again, comrade. Alright. Gemma! So this is what I thought that said Germa. Germa! So this is where you are! SCP Germa 985 has escaped. I repeat, SCP Germa 985 has escaped. Lethal force is authorized. How many times do I have to tell you? You mustn't walk around on your own. Your wounds are far from healed. Oh, don't be so cross. I need only move my body around a little, or I'll end up rotting in that bed. Besides, I can barely keep myself on 2 legs without the aid of this cane. I'm not going anywhere. It disgusts me just to say it. You must stay strong. Your healer says you'll be able to recover fully in just a bit more time. Remember, it's only thanks to the good graces of the gods you were given life to begin with. You mustn't squander it. Yes, I know. To think I would someday owe my life to tree branches. I guess that's what happens when you fall out of the sky. Everything happens according to the will of the gods, and do not forget that you owe to the kind heart of my sister. It's only thanks to Lady Lianka and Captain Aslan of the Knights of Kile were sent out to find you. Of course, I'm not that ill. From what I heard, you were quite a mess when you first arrived here. I heard horrid stories from the other healers. The humiliation for my defeat and the hatred I bore towards Eddard had driven me mad. Right, yeah, I vaguely remember you. You were that dickbag from the Wyvern place. I think you showed up on the same map Jamulan was on? Like where Hilda first shows up with Lianka and Siegfried? I think. On the contrary, you should feel proud at how much you've changed. It was because Aslan told you of Lianka's true feelings, yes? Ah, shit. I was so focused on the tiny scuffles of a tiny land in the tiny center of the world. You, Nephia, taught me how big the world really is. On top of that, you remained by my side for over half a year, nursing me back to health. I heard that you circlet maidens were daughters of gods, but you, Nephia, seem to embody the will of the gods as well. Now tell me, and tell me true, what does the Lana Sanctum wish of me? What should I do from here on out? All of Vesta has but one wish. To protect the world from Margul's darkness. Thus, the Lana's greatest concern of late has been keeping the Moon Maiden from falling into the hands of our enemy. As she is the Princess of Lestia, she currently commands the Liberation Army at Surma Abbey. But last I heard, Revel, Spire, and Lestia had joined forces with the Margulites and succeeded in surrounding the Abbey. Their forces outnumber the Liberation Army 30 times over. It's only a matter of time before the Princess falls into their clutches. So far, Solus has been the only country who had answered Lana Nir's call for help. Melida remains silent, while Venetia has always been devoid of military might. Meanwhile, Norden's entrenched in its own civil war. Solus is fighting well for us, but the best they can do to withstand Sphere's advance, rather than stop it entirely. Gemma, I know I left my homeland soon after I was born, so I know little of Norden. But I do know that Norden is home to a proud people, descendants of Albaran, paladin of the heavens, a paragon of justice and might. Heh, why did I even ask? So be it. I will personally put an end to the Norden... End to the Civil War? How the fuck are you gonna stop a whole-ass Civil War by yourself? Oh, I would simply intervene. Alright, buddy. I will see to it that the Norden Coalition is united under Kar Eddard. and vow that will serve as Lady Nir's fiercest vanguard. Worry not, Nephia. No manner of Margolite or Rebellion warrior is any match for a seasoned Norden dragon mighter. Mark my words, we will protect the Circlet Maiden with our lives. Gemma, allow me to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of the Lana herself. Yes, we'll be busy in months to come. Great changes must come to the kingdom, both to its customs and ancient traditions. We will be reborn, Nephia. Never again will we allow twins to be torn apart in the name of some... This is just Bridget's plot in Guilty Gear, by the way. Superstitions about twins. What happened, Senna? We were only supposed to deliver some herbs to Slan. How did we find ourselves here? And I suppose it's my fault for not curtailing that meddlesome kindness of yours. But they've helped us a great deal, and we're still in charge of their belongings. We can't just say, thanks, bye, and fly off somewhere. Oh, fair enough. What are we gonna do from here on out? Don't tell me you actually intend to travel all the way to Regina with them. That's exactly what I tend to do, Grandfather. They brought us to the Lana Sanctum. We should take this opportunity to load up on all sorts of rare wares, and then sell them off at Regina. Personally, I intend to stock up on holy tomes and staves. I'm sure it'll make us a killing. Tomes and staves? Who's gonna buy up all that junk? Our traveling companions, of course. Especially since they don't sell such things in normal shops. I'm sure they'll be pleased with my new wares. And if this war drags on, we might even find some ministers in Regina who are dying for some new ammunition. I see. So you're banking on the wartime supply and demand. That's my Senna. I always knew you were a good learner. Right then, time for us to go stock up while we still can. Yeah, it's like you always say, Grandfather. War profiteering is for the good of the people. Fucking merchants. Hey, Zaid and Sheila! War profiteering is for the good of the people. Ah, my goodness. Those two are using the powers of capitalism for morally ambiguous means. Zaid, come quick. You simply have to see this. It's so beautiful, I can hardly believe it's all real. Zaid! Zaid? What's taking you so long? Sheila, enough already. Only children scamper around like this. We're finally here! Lana Sanctum at long last! And only for a day. Once we get back to Yappa Village, who knows when we'll ever get another chance to visit. We need to march around and see all there is to see, or we might miss something. If you say so. Oh, look! Let's go check out that garden over there. Come on, Zaid, there's no time to waste. Not so fast, my dear. It's very simple. Is that Caesar? That's just Caesar! What the? There are brigands in the sanctum? But I didn't bring my bow. Zaid! Where are you? Zaid, hurry up! I really mean it this time. Sorry, my dear, but it's just you and me. No one's coming to save you. Alright, Caesar, enough with the theatrics. I didn't think you'd actually fall for it, Sheila. You never cease to amaze me. So how's the sightseeing going? Caesar! Oh, you son of a... Now, no need to get cross. You look like you had some time on your hands, so I thought I'd play a friendly prank, that's all. Clearly, you're the one with too much time on his hands. Just grow up already. Honestly, you're pathetic. I'm pathetic? I seem to remember someone else screaming and crying for Zaid. Shut up! I wasn't crying, you idiot! Ugh. Why do you always have to be so stupidly infuriating? Just tell us why you're here, Caesar. Oh, that's right. I had a question for you, Zaid. You hail from Spire, correct? So what if I do? Just hear me out. Have you ever heard of a Spherian princess named Amelia? Captain Aslan's been searching for her. Princess Amelia? You know of her? Yes, Zaid, that was a question. I do remember the woman my father served having a daughter who bore that name. She was one of the king's... Oh, that's convenient! My father was a Spherian royal guard, and when I was a child, he was tasked with guarding her chambers within the palace. Your father was a knight, Zaid? You never told me that. You never asked. It's one of my favorite jokes, like, oh, by the way, I know this incredibly important piece of plot information. You want to mention that? You want to ask me about it? Sheila, the adults are speaking. Put a sock in it for a moment, would you? Oh, she's attacking you with a normal move with a 75% accuracy that causes paralysis if it hits. Now then, Zaid, where were we? The king's consort was officially known as the Second Queen. Half a year after she gave birth to a baby girl, they both supposedly went missing due to an incident that had happened within the palace. Supposedly meaning... glare is normal. The only typeless move is curse. Oh, glare is 100% accurate now? God damn. Listen, I sometimes forget Gengar doesn't have Levitate anymore. I'm not the best with Pokemon sometimes. I'm like, I can't use ground-type moves on Gengar, and then I'm like, yes, you can. Through guarding the woman, my father fell in love with her, so everyone suspected him of taking them both away. Eventually, my father confessed to murdering both of them. Oh, what the fuck? Do you think your father... What the fuck? No. I believed he lied in order to protect them from future assassination attempts. What do you mean? It's a complicated story that I'd rather not waste my breath explaining. You'll have to ask someone else about the details. The point is, that woman and her daughter were in great danger. Assassins were lurking all over, and there was no telling when one of them would swoop in and claim their lives. And since one of the king's main bannermen was in charge of hiring said assassins, they couldn't bring up the matter to the royal court. With each passing day, the situation only became worse and worse. Once he reached the end of his rope, my father hatched a plan to help the woman and her daughter escape the palace. But since Lestia was at war with Revel at the time, he couldn't just send them back home. So my father entrusted them to his wife, my mother, who served as a handmaid in the palace. She was sent to escort them to Melida, her homeland, and hide them at her family's house. And so, the four of us obeyed my father's orders and ran from palace to port. Wait, the four of us? You were with them, Zaid? My father intended to shoulder all the blame himself, so he charged me with protecting the three women. Yeesh, what a job. Did you make it to the port safely? No. I tried to cut through the forest and stay unseen. The assassins caught up with us regardless. I told the woman to run and tried to fend off the assassins, but I was just a child. One of them hit me hard and I blacked out. When I awoke, I was tied to a tree, and the women were nowhere to be seen. Then off in the distance, I saw a man digging a hole. Next to him, I saw the king's consorts. From the color of her robes, it was clear she'd been slain. I cursed my own weakness. I completely failed my father. Then, after being dragged to the palace, I learned he'd already been executed. For treason. They even had to put his body on display on the front of the castle gate, so the townsfolk could throw stones at it.
I follow.
Oh, hey, thanks for the follow. A very intense time to be following. But you know what? I can't hold it back anymore. Curse my tiny bladder.